Hello everyone, happy Saturday and happy World Card Making Day. As promised, here I am at 1:30 so we can do a little bit of creating and a little bit of improvising because I was just sort of working on this sketch while I was getting ready, and it hasn't totally come to fruition. So hopefully someone will join me and you can help me along. So this is where we're starting. This is our starting point. So basically this card is coming out of a sketch challenge on the West Coast Creators page, which is the bigger team that I am part of. And the sketch as prescribed was 3 squares and a strip across. So basically, hey Teresa, I just took a quick look at the scraps I sort of had beside me, and I had these 3 pieces which were squares, and I was like, oh perfect, I don't like to waste DSP, so why don't I work with those? They're bigger than what would be ideal for a standard card size, so then I was playing around and I decided to turn 2 of them to be diamonds and keep this pretty foil paper in the middle, and I have backed it with copper foil because I just wanted to make it stand out against the vanilla, which I currently have as a background, but it's possible that that will change. I've put Mossy Meadow as the card base. That is this green that we have here. And that is sort of as far as I got. I knew that I wanted to incorporate this small ornament punch because I haven't used the small one yet, only the big one. And I wanted to incorporate these ornament stamps, which are from the Memories of Home stamp set. And I bought this stamp set because I really loved this tree. And I was playing with this tree when I was at the retreat a couple of weekends ago. And I couldn't figure out something I loved that was unique from what was in the catalog. So I will likely just be casing the catalog cards using this tree, but I do still love it. Also, it involved coloring in all these ornaments, and I was trying to brainstorm cards for my Stamp-A-Stack classes, and that's too much coloring for people to get 12 cards done in 2.5 hours. So that might not be making it into the Stamp-A-Stack. We'll have to see. So that is where we started. I want to tie in the navy and the peacock as well. So my plan at the moment is for us to stamp color on color on here and punch it out. But what I think we will also do, because I want to just add a little more contrast. Oh dear, what is happening? Oh no, we're good. Is to use some clear embossing powder. So we need to get out our embossing buddy. Okay. So let's start with stamping these ornaments. So we're going to use the embossing buddy on our pieces of paper, and what that does is it ensures that we don't get embossing powder stuck everywhere else. And because I'm still for my card class that I did the other day, I need to get out my heat gun. So let us do that, and I need to plug it in. This is the problem with having a small craft space. Although it is designated for me, it is tiny. I can't close any doors. And so I end up with a bit of a mess consistently. Okay, so let's start with the navy. Let's get this guy ready. So this is how I store my embossing powders. These are the old stamp cases we used to get that the wood stamps came in. You can just also use the Ziploc bag. You don't need to necessarily, but I find it's too tricky. I don't like to just pour the powder out. It makes a mess. So that's what I do. All right, so let us start with the navy, and then we're gonna get this guy open. Gotta be fast because you don't want your ink to dry, right? So let's put that up there. We'll stamp this guy, make sure he is well inked because nothing is worse than that. And then Stamp him on there. And put the clear powder. Okay, that's one. And then we will close that because nobody likes navy ink everywhere. Open the peacock. Same deal. Stamp this guy up. Lovely. On there. And our clear embossing powder. Teresa, has all your snow melted? Teresa lives in Calgary. So she was stuck in a September snowstorm. Okay, there we go. So we have those. So we're going to have to turn on the heat gun. So it's going to get noisy here for a second. My little trick, if I have them handy, which it appears I do not, is I have these they're like giant tweezers. And I like to use them to hold my paper. This paper's pretty big. When I'm embossing, because then my fingers aren't anywhere near it. Okay, let's heat these guys up. So this also would have looked really pretty in vanilla. I don't actually know if there is vanilla embossing powder now that I say that. I know there's white embossing powder, but I don't know if there is vanilla. I feel like maybe there is not. And then, I don't know, white mixed with vanilla doesn't always look super nice. No, there's no such thing as vanilla. You could do copper on vanilla paper, and that would look lovely. Okay, so we don't really have to worry about that not being set. So we're gonna stick that in, punch those out. There's one. And we will do the same here. And I knew this was gonna, oh no, we're just perfect. I really like the look of the peacock. So I was kind of thinking we would do something like that. But now part of me thinks I would actually like to do both those in peacock and then do navy across and have the sentiment maybe on the navy. So because that's what I'm thinking, I am going to get out my chamois, clean off the stamp we did in navy. If you don't have the chamois yet, people, you want to get it. It's awesome. You just get it wet. You can keep it in one of these clear stamp cases, which you can buy, and just clean your stamps whenever you need to. Okay, let's do this again. We're going to push this guy to the side. Creating, right? And this is why sometimes I come down here and say, oh, I just need to quickly make a card. And even though I have the idea in my head, it still takes me like an hour and a half. It doesn't have to though. So I don't want that to, if you're a beginner, it certainly is not. It doesn't have to be a lengthy process. That's where the catalog comes in amazing. If you pick out some stamp sets and you start by making the cards that you see that they have demoed in the catalog with that same stamp set, and then kind of go from there, get some inspiration from there. If you're following myself or other people on Facebook, then you always can get their inspirations. And then of course, there is Pinterest. And there is no end of inspiration on Pinterest. I almost sometimes find it to be too much. It can be a bit overwhelming. Okay, there we go. Yes, I think I like that better. So then let's get this navy piece back. And then let's figure out how we want to work that in. So I'm going to cut that off because we know we don't want that. I think this is likely too thick. I don't think I want anything quite this thick, but you know what? Maybe. No, I don't really like that. So we want a thin strip. And then we're gonna need, we might have to put a strip of vanilla on there because otherwise our sentiment is not going to show up. So what we could do is stamp a sentiment. We could also use this beautiful vanilla ribbon, but then we're gonna end up cutting off our words. So I don't think we're gonna do that. Please feel free to chime in at any time, peeps. I am always happy to have suggestions. So let's get out some vanilla. So I always have strips of cardstock here. Nate, you gotta talk to your dad, buddy. Mom's busy right now, please. Sorry. Hello, Lynn. Okay, let's look at the sentiments that we have in here. We have wishing you a Merry Season. May your Christmas be filled with all the memories of home, glad tidings, Christmas cheer. So we don't have a lot of room. Let's take a look at our stamps. Glad tidings, peace, joy, and love, Christmas cheer. I kind of like Merry Season. I wonder if we could do wishing you a Merry Season. Would that fit or will that be too big? Yep, I think that's going to be too big. That's too bad. I think those are all going to be too big then. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm going to pull out this guy, Itty Bitty Christmas. See what we've got that would fit there. Happy Christmas would work. Where's that one? Happy Christmas. Ah, right there. Okay, let's take a look at that. Like I said, work in progress. Okay, so for any of you who have these stamps and have not yet done this, don't be afraid. You just have to line it up. So I always find like 2 edges that I know I can line up well. And then you just press down and voila. And then I keep that sheet in there so that the stamps don't get dirty. Okay, put this back. You will see this stamp set another time, I promise you, because I will make use of the things in here. Okay, we need a little block. So then we can just do it on this little guy. So I can tell right now that this scrap is not even, so I'm just going to cut that so it is. So, sorry, I'm off to the side here with my paper cutter. There we go. Okay, that's better. And then we can put it on the navy and we can decide how we're going to do that. What also might actually be nice here, I'm sort of brainstorming. We could put it on more of that. I don't think so. We could put it on a different piece of paper in this DSP. So I think that's actually what we're going to do. All right. So we will stamp in navy, I think, and go from there. If we don't like it, we can change it. We have to have it off to the side. And then I'm thinking, so I'm looking at this cardstock. And there is some pretty paper. So we have stars or just this pretty copper, which I think would look pretty. Okay, so I'm going to make a strip. So let's see how wide it needs to be. I consistently use my ruler, so I want that to be, you know, bordering it. So we're going to need it to be, my paper cutter is generally in inches. Let's put it at the 1. We're gonna need it to be, that's 1 1/2, 3/4. So I want it to be 1 7/8. All right, so let's cut that. 1 7/8. So 11 will be 1 7/8. Whoa, that's no. 7/8. Was somebody gonna correct me? That's crazy. Okay. There we go. 7/8. Yes. Now we're talking. Okay. So let's take these pieces off. So that would be on there like that. Then this would be on here like this. We're probably going to have to do something a bit more like that. And then we have this. Do you like this? We have a lot of thises and that's. This will go like that. We'll go like this. We'll go like that. We'll go like this. We'll go like that. Would go like that. All right, folks, this is where you get to chime in. Tell me what you think. Should we have those straight up and down? Should we have them kind of tilted like they're sort of ringing? I guess we could have them both down below. Nope, I don't like that. Teresa, Lynn, ladies, what are you thinking? Someone else is on here. I just can't see who. And then I'm not sure, tilted, all right. And I think I will cut the vanilla. Oh, Lynn likes it the original way. I'm gonna do this. So that you don't see vanilla poking out. Yes, I like that better. I can't see the comments. That's okay, Lynn. I can. And then I'm wondering if we should be embossing this vanilla piece. So I did take out an embossing folder because I was trying to decide. Because it's tricky. You can't really just very subtly stamp anything on vanilla because there's sort of nothing that we can do that will be subtle. And I am thinking nothing on that stamp set. And I'm guessing, oh, let me see. Let me find my brightly. Let's see, this one maybe. We could stamp a little bit of this. This. No, I don't want to make it too busy. Okay, so I'm going to take all of this stuff off because we know that we want to work with that. Now, it's just where do we want to emboss this vanilla? I had this embossing folder out, this stylish scroll, which is actually in the Halloween section. It's very pretty. but I'm wondering if it's gonna look too busy. So when you're sort of trying to decide, don't be afraid to do stuff like this, right? By putting the folder on here, I can get an idea of what that pattern is looking like behind my card, and if it seems like it's going to be too much. So I actually don't mind that. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but I think that kind of looks pretty. So I'm going to try that. Worst case scenario, I'm not going to like it, and we're just going to cut another piece of vanilla, and I will use this somewhere else. So this is just a regular embossing folder. We don't need the new 3D. And so what I like to do when they have the line, that's to help you line your paper up straight. So we're going to line our paper up. Okay, we're going to run that through the Big Shot, which is still a mess from yesterday. So we need our thin die adapter. We need 2 plates. You always want to emboss with the seam going in first. That allows it to press the Big Shot to press the air out. And then you don't risk ruining your embossing folder. It's not so much an issue with these standard embossing folders, it's more an issue with the 3D folders. Okay, so we have that. And then we're going to have that. And then we're gonna have that and that, and then this square in the middle. So I don't really want, I kind of want this down a little bit. I think I'll do it more like this. And then like that. And then if we do the ornament, so that ornament is tilting right off. So I wonder, it's because the, it's just how it's going to be. So that is with the ornaments tilted. Or that is with the ornaments straight up and down. Yeah, I think they need to be tilted. It just, otherwise it's a bit too geometric. Okay, what do you think, you guys? I like it. So I'm just gonna cut that so it's level, and Bob's your uncle. I think that looks pretty good. I like it how we added this paper in. I don't think that looks too busy. I could move this up to be in the middle, but then I think that's kind of a bit too geometric. Although, what do you guys think? Would you put the sentiment in the middle of this square, or would you keep it how I had it, sort of a little bit down below? I will wait for your comments as we do some gluing. So I think we'll be fine to use a snail on this. Sometimes in an embossed piece of paper, depending on the pattern, the snail doesn't really stick very well. Okay, the results are unanimous. But what I always do when I emboss, I put an extra bit of snail in the middle, and I don't normally do that. I normally just put snail along the edges. But when I'm using an embossed piece, I always do a bit of snail in the middle. I like to have my card open when I'm putting on a piece like this, especially this one, because I have only left, normally I would leave a quarter. So normally this card is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And so normally I do 5 1/4 by 4, but I have done 5 1/8 by 4 1/8 so that it has a very thin border. So when I'm doing that, you really got to make sure you are lined up straight. Okay, so let's sit down here. So we actually need to sort of be figuring out how we're going to lay these down, right? because this has got to go underneath that one and at the edge. So what I'm actually going to do, and so again, you're going to see some of my tricks here because we're making this card together, and I don't have a sample of this. I have not made this card before. This is me creating live with you. So often what I will do when I brainstorm a card and then I finally get what I like is I will take a picture of it so that when I start to take the pieces off, I know where everything was. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to snip that vanilla so I know where I want that to be. And then I like this right now. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take that off. I am now going to take this piece and put adhesive just in the top, just for a moment. And I know I need it to be here. So I'm going to do that. And then I know that would have been like that. Okay, and I'm actually going to adhere that. So then I know that I've got this exactly where I want it. Then I lift back this piece and do that bit of adhering. And now I'm going to snip this so it's exact. So these are my little tricks for sort of putting things together in pieces, and when I've done it and I want it to be exactly like that, and then I will just do that. So it's cheating, sort of. So now we're going to put adhesive on here, and we're going to put adhesive on here. And I know this is the edge of my card almost, so I'm going to put some adhesive down here. And then I'm going to put a strip there. And then now I'm just going to use this as one whole big piece. We're going to put it on, line it up with our edges. Comme ça. And then this we want to cut off with our vanilla. That's the only downfall of doing this way, is now I'm not going to necessarily get a perfect edge there, but we'll do our best. Do you know, I'm sure you do, I think it's just because either you're left-handed or you're right-handed, right? We all have a better angle. You know what? I'm actually going to do this to start, and then we'll go from there. So that piece I think I'm just going to have go all the way across. Because of the way I've made the card now, it's not going to work otherwise. All right. There we go. Okay, we're going to take this guy. We're going to do the same. So all 4 edges. And line it up. All right, so are you ladies making any cards today? Is for World Card Making Day? Hopefully you are. It's a reasonably nice day here. We had swimming this morning, and then we were getting Nate new skates. And then I was out in the yard getting rid of some of the dead summer plants so that they weren't kicking around and I don't have to worry about it next weekend. Our compost gets picked up on Monday, so I got to take care of these things on the weekend, and tomorrow we have lacrosse. So sorry, I didn't like how that went down, but I may not be able to fix it. So we're just going to have to go with it. And that is also sometimes what happens. So this piece I might pop that up. I don't know. We could pop these up, but I don't think I really want to. And then, so this is another thing sometimes when I'm trying to decide if I want to use dimensionals on something. So I'll do this. I'll cut the edge of this sheet and I'll go like this. And then I can just kind of see what it looks like popped up. without putting it. Okay, so there's one popped up and there is one not popped up. What do you guys think? I am thinking dimensionals maybe for the ornaments. I think dimensionals for the ornaments, but then keep the copper piece flat. What do you guys think? Alternatively, we could pop them all up. And that would be looking like that. Popped up for the ornaments. Yeah, I think so too, right? And keep the sky flat. All right. So, Teresa and I learned this at the retreat. Snail does not always work very nicely on copper or on foil paper. I'm having an okay time here, but you can kind of see where it doesn't always necessarily stick. So we need to make sure this is roughly centered. Looks about right, but I'm going to actually take a bit of a measurement. So if our paper is 5.5, 2 1/4 would be the middle. So this actually needs to go up a tiny bit. We can't have it go up too much because of the way that we've done this bar of sentiment and foil. And now, since I've done this, I'm just going to use these pieces because it doesn't sort of make sense to waste them since I've cut them. All right, thank you so much for your patience, ladies. It's very weird doing Facebook Lives because I can't actually hear anybody. And my house is really quiet right now. I feel like my son is getting his screen time because he's going to a birthday party this afternoon. So when that is happening, it's pretty quiet because then it means my husband is either reading or having some screen time of his own. And I am down here. Okay, there we have it, ladies. So we have just, you've helped me with a few things. We've created a challenge card that I needed to do for the big team that I am part of. So now I can submit that before October the 5th. I've got a Facebook Live video that I can post on my blog and that I can also put on my YouTube channel. And we did some card making on World Card Making Day. And I used a sentiment I have not yet used. I used these ornaments, which I had not yet used. I used some of this DSP that I had not yet used. We did some embossing. We did a lot of good work here. All right, Lynn and Teresa, thank you so much for joining me and for helping me. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. And I hope you get a chance to make a card today or tomorrow. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day.